So what is the difference between Shaktipat and energy healing? There are many teachers, masters, gurus telling you stuff of how these things are. Yet, most of them don't actually understand the difference between them. So in this video, we're gonna take a deep dive into what energy healing is and what Shaktipat is. But after we talk about those two, we're then going to go into the deeper level of Shaktipat and what that is and why the full Shaktipat was always given from the guru to the disciple, or from the guru to the student, or from the master to the student on an individual level. When I work with people talking about Kundalini awakening, going through the process, this is why I work on a one-to-one level. So first of all, we have energy healing. If you've watched other videos on my channel, you will know by now that there are different types of energy we can work with. We can work with the pranic energy, pranapat, which is the Reiki, the Kundalini activations. Yes, it's misnamed, but so many other pranic healing methodologies. Great, brilliant. I'm not trying to say here one is better than the other. I'm saying therefore different things. Even the name, energy healing, is about healing. Just as, and this is why Kundalini activation is a form of healing, as opposed to Kundalini awakening, which is a form of going down a spiritual path. Some people think that Reiki is much weaker than other systems. Okay, unfortunately, today, what people call Reiki, it has been diluted so much, and so many people that do Reiki aren't very powerful in it. People think it's this weak modality, and it's just not. It's the people that do it don't know really what they're doing. And so you get these things that say, oh no, it's supposed to be this subtle thing that you don't really notice as you're receiving it, and it's supposed to be soft and calm. Yeah, that's because the people doing it don't understand. This is the main problem here. So many people doing what they've been taught is something. I'm not saying they're trying to trick anyone. It's just they don't fully understand this. Just as there are many healers that are still very unrefined. And so they are working with their own energy when connecting with their client, their patient, their student, whatever you want to call it, with people. Or the reverse, that they're working with the energy of the person and they're actually absorbing that energy, which again isn't what they should be doing. I'm not going into here what a healer should or shouldn't be doing. It's not about that. It's just to show you the differences. So with energy healing, the practitioner, the healer, the facilitator, whatever you want to call it, we can call this somatic healing, somatic work, body work, energetically, whatever you want. They are going in and they are manipulating and moving the energies of the people in the room or the person in the room actively. This is very easy to do. Easy. It takes practice, it takes a lot of realization, it takes a lot of learning to do it properly, building up the power that you have, the ability that you have. So it's not this weak thing. It's quite funny. I saw one teacher the other day. They were saying, oh, Reiki doesn't do this, that, and the other. It's just a weak form. Go do this instead. And it's just not true. I mean, Reiki is very powerful, and it's not just used to heal or energetic healing. Have to be careful with the word to heal. We're not talking about medical healing, nothing to do with that. But it goes a lot further than that. It can be used in many different ways that I'm not going to go into because it's not a video about Reiki. If you're interested in Reiki and Reiki healing, I have a Reiki channel dedicated to that. Just like I have another channel that is dedicated to Shaktipat meditations for sort of the second part of what we're talking about here. Not the third part, the second part. So energy healing is a direct manipulation, not manipulation as in psychological, as in energetically moving, as in a masseuse manipulates the muscle of a patient or client. And they manipulate and move the energies, which in turn has some amazing things. And it can release traumas and blockages that you have. And depending how we look at things, for example, they say it is said that up to about 80% of all physical illness comes from the energetic and spiritual part of you, created by stress, created by traumas that we don't let go of, and hence it's called energy healing. Shaktipat. Now there are two levels to Shaktipat. Shaktipat, first of all, to truly offer Shaktipat, the facilitator, the master, the guru, has to have attained a certain level themselves. They can't be unrealized. They can't be transmitting their own programming, their own beliefs. And when we're talking about Shaktipat of this level, connect to my energy, just feel the energy of this video, of any video on this channel. Just as you're watching, as you're listening to me, giving you instructions or teaching or telling about Kundalini awakening and things like this. Whilst there are words going on, just feel the resonance of the energy. Because this is what Shaktipat is. Shaktipat is not a transfer of energy. It's not a manipulation of energy. It is the guru, the master, the facilitator, whatever you want to call them, depending on the level they're at, sitting in an energy that other people can pick up on. The teaching of Shaktipat does not come through the words said. So we could ask, why do I talk in the videos? If this is what Shaktipat is. This is why I have a dedicated channel called Beyond Healing that is strictly Shaktipat with slight sort of guided meditations to help the Western brain relax and get into it. A dedicated channel for that. This channel is about this, giving you instructions so you learn about these things whilst at the same time receiving the energy. So it is about being in presence of a realized person. This can be done right now, like as I'm talking to you, you can feel, and over time, by simply sitting in the presence, it's sitting with a guru, as they would call it in India, you will, over time, just by doing this, nothing else, it will create shifts in you. It's So it can still be a form of healing at the beginning. It can still release those traumas at the beginning. It can still release, but it's not an active process. It's a passive process. And then from there, you can go into higher things. And this is why a Shaktipat master, Shaktipat guru can go and sit with 3,000 people, 6,000 people. And all these people can just simply sit in the present. It's very interesting because, excuse me, when you talk to energy healers, they say, oh no, you can't do a group session with more than 10 people or 20 people. They can't because they're doing energy healing. They're not doing Shaktipat. They don't understand the difference. And that leads us to, again, the sitting in the presence part, simply sitting in the presence. Today, you will find Siddha masters, Shaktipat masters that stop there. They don't know further than that. So they think it's simply about talking, being in the presence, and that's it. Again, don't get me wrong, this is a very powerful thing. And over a long time, this can help many, many people. But then we have, and obviously you can have what we could call sitting sessions or meditation sessions or just sitting in the presence without any talking. When there's no talking, the master, the guru can focus on their own sitting in the presence, which will make the whole energy flow more deeply. And there are gurus that do this. They will have conferences or whatever you want to call them. Obviously, I do this via video because it can be done by a video. And this is where, as I said, my other Beyond Healing channel goes. And it's just about sitting in that presence and being focused and sitting in that presence to be able to go deeper. But then you have the deeper level of Shaktipat. And this is where or how I work with people in my trainings. This is how we get to controlled Kundalini awakenings. And this is where the facilitator, the master, the guru, or facilitator here, sort of not really, master or guru, they guide the student. This is why it has to be done one-on-one. It can be done online, but needs to be done one-on-one. Because when you connect and transmit and feel and sit in the energy, this isn't energy healing. We're not actively manipulating the energy to move in a certain way. It's simply a connection between the two, a flow, so that, how do I explain this? So that energetically, the master guides the student. Not through language. Language can help. In my trainings, I use language at the same time because it can speed things along greatly, and this is how we can reduce times. Through language and through energy, but not manipulating energy. We could say it's more an empathic connection that guides the student into the space of a Kundalini awakening. Now, why can't this be done in groups? Well, in theory, it can be. Yet in practice, it doesn't work that way. Because if you have more than one person, you're dealing with more than one energy pattern. And each person has to be distinguished to be able to help them to get them as far as they are able to go. Again, in my trainings, I do not guarantee everybody gets to a certain level. It depends on where you're starting, how much practice you put in. That's why, for example, in my IEP program, my integral energy program, this is why people have to work for the good part of a year with their own energies before we go into this. So they can be as open as they possibly can, knowing how to control the pranic energies, the tantric energies, the light body energies, before we go into the kundalini energies. Well, the light body actually, there's a twist there. If you want to know, come and join the trainings to find out about that. But so on this one-to-one student, teacher, whatever you want to call the two people, it is not simply about just sitting in the presence of the master and letting grace descend naturally. Although grace does descend naturally. And this is, you can see this is quite difficult to explain. But on a one-to-one, Shakti, the energy, is guided through the path specifically for each person. In a big group, you cannot do this specifically. As I said, there are too many energy fields of people to do this accurately with more people. You're having to process 10 people's energy at the same time, and it's, as I said, theoretically it's possible, but if you do something to one person, you're also going to be doing it to them at the same time as the other, unintentionally. It's why it doesn't work. But so it is a one-to-one process that goes much deeper, much faster. You will get there through sitting in presence. But the one-to-one guides you much faster to get to the point of not prana moving through the body, of through Shakti, that cosmic energy rising, connecting in the spine, to the point where we connect to Shiva, to consciousness, and we can have that descent of grace happen through, we could say it's control, but through, and it's not willingness. Again, this is very difficult to explain because it's not you're willing it, it's not you're pulling it down, it's through allowance, through devotion, through acceptance, through acknowledgement of the process. It can be called, not the right word, to descend. And this is how, because there are many people that say, oh no, Kundalini awakening, you can't do it, it can't be controlled, it happens by God's will. As I always say, it's don't drive a car before you learn to drive a car. If you try and drive a car without learning how to drive a car, most of the time, or a lot of the time, it's not going to work well. And hence why people who have spontaneous awakenings, they can get into trouble. So we have energy healing, which is the active manipulation of people's energy. Great stuff for healing, for getting back to the 0 point, getting back to yourself. But it doesn't go any further than that. Some people have these experiences and they're told it's more than that, and they think, and then they get trapped in spiritual ego, and it can be a mess, and there are many facilitators stuck there. But you can feel amazing, you feel awesome when this happens because all these blocks are released, because the energy starts to flow. You think, oh, this must be Shakti rising, this must be a Kundalini awakening. Well, no, it's simply releasing traumas, huge energetical somatic work, which is amazing, which makes you feel amazing, but it only brings you back 2.0. Of how we were when we were very young before we got programmed by society. And it feels amazing and it feels great and it's very powerful. But Shaktipat can also take you there in a more gentle way. When we're talking about Shaktipat, given in group by sitting in presence, sitting with the guru. And then we have the third, which is a one-on-one process where through empathic connection, the master guides the individual through an awakening. So it is smooth. It's not risk-free. Don't misinterpret this. It's not about saying this is 100% safe. Nothing is. Walking down the street, having a shower, walking down the stairs, nothing is 100% safe. But you are guided down, so you don't have to have, when people do have spontaneous awakenings, we have Kundalini syndrome, we have people that basically have a type of astral projection where the consciousness gets sucked out of the body. Some people have an amazing experience. Some people have a really tough time with it. People being pushed into the dark night of the soul, that can happen in energy healing as well. Something different. I talk about that in other videos. If you're interested in that, check them out on the channel. But the idea is when it is the one-to-one, it is a smooth, especially if the previous work's been done correctly, it is a smooth transition. It is a rising of the Shakti. It is a connection to Shiva and a divine descent of grace. Very smooth. This is the point of working with the master. So you take away as much of the risk as possible. Of course, we can do it through simply sitting with the guru, like you are here with me, sitting with, I don't call myself a guru, perhaps I should, I don't know. Guru basically means master, just in a different language. And it is just about receiving the energy, sitting in the energy, and receiving, not through the teaching, but through the presence. Energy healing, Shaktipat of presence, guiding individually people to have an awakening. Now here, lastly, I'm going to ask you a favor. First of all, if you have that hype button, hit it. Second of all, it would be really helpful to me if you can write a comment down below. And even more helpful if you share this video with someone you know or on social media or share it somehow. Because this will help these videos get given to more people so they can learn. It will also help YouTube recognize that you've enjoyed the video. So it'll give you more of my stuff, so it's helping you too. And it also helps me, if you've enjoyed the video, helps me because more people see this stuff. So it helps the algorithm to expand this to more people, so more people can get it, grow, so the channel grows. If you're interested in training with me, go to theawakenenergy.com. I also offer live group sessions every week. They are a form of I tend to call them light body activations because they are a level of Shaktipat, yet working on the level of the light body, which again, I'm not going to go into here. So do these things, obviously subscribe to the channel, hit that alert button, all these things help. And I will see you in another video.